Welcome in to the weekend edition of the Leans, the Locks. I'm Eytan with you. Lindy's got you during the week. I have you on the weekend. And that's what we do here in the NBA as we roll and hit each and every game. Gigantic slate that we're going to dive into. I've got money for you here, courtesy of Bet365. We have a lot to talk about with this individual, another guy at the top of the East who may or may not play on Saturday, in Giannis, and really an awesome slate across the board to get to. So I'm excited. I'm super excited that you're here. Thumbs up, please. Subscribe, please. Do it for Lindquist. If you're not, who the hell is this guy? All this other, just do it for Lindquist. All right. Come join both of us in the Discord. I'll tell you all about that. We've got a lot of games to get to, and we had some crazy action, some comeback action, and then some on Friday night as we open up Saturday slate. I don't know what the NBA is going to provide, but I do know we get going right now. We start in LA. Early game for the Clippers. What is it? 1 o'clock Western Pacific time that this game will tip off. And the Clippers are a 6.5 point favorite, primarily because there's no Jalen Brunson, right? No problem here. I think the Knicks have lost 2 straight, and now there's panic. Meanwhile, this Clippers team has put together a nice stretch where they've won 2 straight, but that's to climb out of a hole that they were already in. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the LA Clippers in some rout because Jalen Brunson is done. The Knicks lose to Charlotte. They snap their skid. It's disappointing. It absolutely is disappointing. But the most recent loss is to Sacramento, who's just a better basketball team right now. So there's no shame. There's no harm. There's nothing lost in this. It's the Knicks on the road. It's an earlier start for them. I get it, but I'm not looking at the ceiling caving, the world coming down, and the sky falling as a result of the Knicks losing 2 straight. Not having Brunson is a concern. Emmanuel Quickly's not going to be dog shit like we just saw him against Sacramento for 2 straight games, we think. And things are just kind of even its way out. Julius Randle can knock down 6 threes against this team. Give me the Knicks plus 6.5. Let's not overthink this. This is how we open this up. Nice and easy for you. It's a lean, but the Knicks plus 6.5. We move on to Detroit. I don't know how excited you are for this game. I'm not thrilled to sit down and watch this basketball game, but I think there's a pretty good wager to be placed on this. Pacers are dealing with a couple of injuries, guys that are either out or playing hurt. And it's hard to ignore that you've got a couple of starters who are now questionable. You know, Miles Turner is questionable. I'm not sure what you're going to get. Halliburton, questionable. 3 more guys on this team, all iffy is what you see on the injury report. You know what I'm iffy about? The Indiana Pacers. Nah, I don't want any part of this shit. And the Pacers have let down. The Pacers have underachiever. The Pacers have inability to get around working through injury or a couple of guys down. They're not a tall team as is. You don't have Miles Turner out there. Forget it. You're going to be in some major trouble. But it's the Pistons. Come on, it's the Pistons. They suck. They suck ass right out. They do. They do. But it's only a 5.5 point line because Indiana could be down a bunch of guys. Detroit doesn't know any better in this case, but we have no choice at home to take a team in the Pistons who are probably just going to hang around in this game. I mean, that's essentially it. They're just going to hang around in this game. Anything under or anything north of 5, I think, is a fine play here. And we'll lean Detroit at home. All right. 2 big games to start off. The early game, we had to get Detroit. Just get it out of the way. Let's flush it out of our system. We got that Detroit game out of the way. We'll move on. We have to hit our guy Jason Tatum. We have a bunch more to hit. But let me tell you about what's happening on Bet365. This is the easiest thing you're going to do. I promise you. Colorado, Ohio, Virginia, New Jersey. You're watching this. I mean, if you know me from what I do in Pennsylvania, you're probably in Jersey. You probably don't even know you have Bet365, and you have Bet365. All I need you to do is click the link below, sign up at Bet365. This is the best offer we've ever had on anything across the board. You don't want to miss it, especially if you're living in one of these states where you might not even realize that you have Bet365. Sign up, deposit $10, and then bet $1. $1 after you deposit 10 on anything, any market, anything, it doesn't matter, and you're going to get $365. That's right, $365 right back. Normally, it's like risk-free. No. You bet $1 on anything, doesn't matter. Favorite, dog, doesn't matter. You're going to get $365 right back. Seriously, I don't know how simple this can get, but it's pretty simple here. It's the one you want to take advantage of by all means. And that's why we have it here for you at Bet365. We move on. Magic hosting the Heat. Well, we saw a game on Friday night, did we not? And maybe you want to look at this from the Cleveland Cavaliers standpoint of being up, but unable to really do much, and seeing a lead evaporate. And with seconds left on the clock, watching Caleb Martin knock down a couple of free throws, just really looking around like, wow, how did that happen? How did this ending happen? Here's the thing, though. Forget Miami for just a second. Let's look at the Orlando Magic. Here are the Orlando Magic, who are in a really tough spot, because it was like they were just there in somewhat contention for the play-in game. And then somebody stepped in, was like, whoa, hold on a second. Hold on a second. This team might think to themselves they can get into the play-in game. And then you're dealing with human beings, so you can't tell them to lose unless you're paying them to lose. And that's, Brian Flores stuff. We're not dealing with that right now, at least for this particular video. But all of a sudden, Orlando's lost 3 straight. I don't even think this is about cover so much as it's simply about the Miami Heat come in with momentum. The Miami Heat come in. They haven't done anything. This isn't a typical Miami year where they're like a top 4 team or so. This is one where the Miami Heat are struggling, and they kind of can't afford to take these types of games off. Miami has to get in away from any play-in type scenario. And you'd think they'd be able to take advantage of that with Brooklyn. They haven't been. This is the Heat -3 on the road with a lean. It's simple as that. We lean with the Miami Heat. And we build off, I guess, what you saw last night. But it's more so a matter of where Miami is overall and where Orlando is. And Orlando just doesn't have it. 3 is too tight. You give me 6, 6.5 at home, it's a different story, but I'm not getting that. We move on. Charlotte, what to do here? Hornets hosting the Jazz. Now, you have to look at injury. You have to look at sitting. You have to look at anything with specifically Jordan Clarkson. That's the big one. Questionable right now. I'm jumping in on the other side. That's what this comes down to. I don't know if Jordan Clarkson is playing. If he's in, okay. But if he's not, this might dip a little bit. If he's in, I don't think it's going to move significantly the other way. I really don't. But right now, there's a pretty good opportunity to jump in with the home dog here. And that's really what I want, because Utah is so fadeable right now. They've only won 4 of their last 10. They come in, Lauri Markkanen has himself a night, but it's too little. They win a game, but they're prone to losing a couple too. They're too streaky, yet they haven't been able to really, especially with Jordan Clarkson out, they haven't been able to establish enough consistency to get around that. So I have to take the Hornets right now. It pains me to do so because Charlotte is just so bad. They haven't technically been eliminated like Detroit, but I imagine that's coming. That's probably right around the corner. The Hornets have won a couple in a row, and there's something to that, especially when you're taking on a fleeting team like the Utah Jazz. I just don't want to overlook that by any means. See, there's a difference here. We move to Atlanta. There's JT, Jason Tatum. odds-on favorite at one point to win the MVP, and then the big fellas just stepped in and said, no, we'll handle that. Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, we'll handle that. What do you make of this team? What do you make of this Boston team? You can remember on the comments. You can let me know. You still think that they are bulletproof or if they're now beatable. But they went through this stretch. Their coach is under fire. The coach is firing off at players. It looked like for a team that was so good and such a well-oiled machine on offense, for them to fall back like they did, that stretch that they went through where they just looked beyond lost, but kind of like quasi-lost, disinterested out there. Not good. Sixers, meanwhile, we just saw this again on Friday night. Another win. They start to narrow that gap a little bit. Boston, you think, is under a little pressure right now. The Boston Celtics, who had that major lead and looked as comfortable as it was earlier in the year, yeah, they're healthy right now, but make no mistake, they're only 2 games up on the Philadelphia 76ers. Milwaukee has secured that spot up top. This is not a good time right now for the Boston Celtics. And I want to jump in, really, with this game on the other side. That's it. I want to take advantage of Atlanta coming in. Atlanta is going to be able to score. Atlanta is going to be able to, again, Boston, great. This is probably a higher scoring game. You can look at the total. Boston's defense needs to pick up just a little bit, and I'm not quite convinced that they can do that. Not tonight against Atlanta. We see the Hawks score a lot of points, and that can be a problem for Boston. Recently, it has been a problem for Boston. So I'll keep that trend rolling and go with the Atlanta Hawks getting the 4.5 at home. Now, that's a lock. Okay? We did a couple of leans. That's a lock. You can lock the Atlanta Hawks up plus 4.5 at home against the Boston Celtics. I know I have to build for this, but that's what we want mostly across the board tonight, is identifying a home dog that we can get a little extra points on. And that's what we got. It's a great sight to see this. So we'll take the Atlanta Hawks plus 4.5. We move on. Next game, something about this with Houston at home. Chicago, they don't shoot a lot of threes. Houston is not great either. I mean, Houston doesn't do anything well. Let's get that out. But they're not great at scoring by any means. Nobody's going to mistake them for the highest scoring team by any means in the NBA. I really like, if I'm looking at this game, I really like the chance to go under here. I just don't think, it's a 7.5 point spread. I don't know if Houston covers that. If they win outright, they get blown out. But I don't see a track meet between these two teams. We have to monitor what's going on with Chicago, I think, more so than anything else. Doesn't look like there's anything latest with new injury news, just stuff that we were waiting on off the floor. What's Houston doing? Really, what's Houston? Chicago is limping their way to the end of the year right now. They're technically involved in play-in basketball conversations, although they're not good. They're not going to do shit. They'll probably find a way to squander any opportunity as they get closer, even though Washington, as hot as they've been, drops one on Friday night. It's not much here, really. It's not much. In fact, I would look at this game and think that Chicago and Houston are going to do everything they can just to get the fuck out of the building. Really. Just get in, get out. A couple of personal accolades there. Maybe somebody scores 25, 30. But for the most part, you're not there to do much. But just get in, get out, and get the hell back home or on to the next game. That's what I think you're going to get more so than anything else. So I'm going to go under. I'm not convinced you're going to get a lot of points here. Grizzlies at home against the Dallas Mavericks. At the time the spread is not up, you let us know what you think. Look, if Dallas is a dog, and I don't think they'll be, but you never know. If Dallas is a dog, I'm betting them and I'm locking them up. That's the contingency plan here or I guess if you look at it, the caveat. We're going to take Dallas in this game. I'll talk about it in a second here, but it has to be so long as they're a dog. If they're getting 1, if they're getting 2, if they're getting 4, I don't care what they're getting. If Dallas is getting, then I'm on board with the Mavericks. Give me that, because this is a pick 'em, and if anything, Dallas should be favored. Memphis hasn't figured anything out. All right, knocking off Golden State at home is nothing, especially because Golden State's the team on the road. Golden State's awful on the road. They're nothing to look. It's really cool to talk about the beef. I get that. But come on, man. This Warriors team is so bad on the road. They're not even worth discussing. It's not even worth accolades. It's not even worth a pat on the back. It's not even worth GP. It's not even worth props. It's not worth any of the words that you use to describe the same thing. Just get that shit out of here. Okay, great. You beat a team that everybody beats when they're on the road. In this case, though, the Mavericks are desperate. The Mavericks right now have to figure this thing out with Luka and Kyrie. And there's no more excuses right here. Memphis is still trying to get their footing straight. Just because Ja Morant has been plucked from this team doesn't mean that Memphis just slides in there and figures this thing out, at least not consistently. So against a worse team, absolutely, there's a chance here. But in this case, no. Mavs only as a dog, as a lock. Otherwise, I'll lean Dallas. But if they're a dog in this game, you better believe I'm locking them up. And you better as well. You can let me know in the chat as you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and all that. But we really like Dallas here getting any type of point, anything at all in this spot. On the road, I understand, but Memphis, not trustworthy as a home favorite. Neither is Golden State. But Golden State won't be favored in this game, so you don't have to worry about that. Giannis, you probably want to just wait, you know? Although I will say the play here, we're going to lock the Bucks up on the spread as we don't really know what's going on with Giannis. But one bonus play that I would add would be just going over whatever point production you get for Chris Middleton at this. Honestly, at this stage, I think that's a smart play. So I'll add my Shander player prop of the night, what have you, and that would be just going over Chris Middleton's points. This has now become a very playable prop. Shout out to my guy, Harambe Slayer, on the Discord. He, and we had a couple of others, but talking about this here, and it's one that you should keep an eye on consistently now with Middleton fully back in the fold. As far as this game is concerned, I don't want anything to do with Golden State. Nope. Golden State right now is annoying. Golden State, Klay Thompson's probable. He's going to play. Andrew Wiggins is not. Kuminga's out. Golden State's like Rory McIlroy. I don't even want a cross-sport reference. I don't even have the time for that. I don't have time for Golden State. Golden State's boring. They're cliche. Going through the motions, or Draymond Cowherd has something to say in his podcast, and it's the same shit. And it's not like I have fatigue in the sense of like I'm not rooting against Golden State. I just don't have any interest in Golden State. Isn't that amazing? Like, I really don't. This is one of the best teams of all time. I got nothing. I'm zapped. And if they do anything in the playoffs, it would be a shock. I don't know. You want to come back and say, yeah, you were wrong. Go ahead and do that, but who cares? I have no time and patience for this Warriors team. I have no interest in this Warriors team. They define underachiever. They've got guys on there popping off. I mean, get out of here. Seriously, get out of here with this shit. Thunder on the road. Thunder Road. Uh-oh. Sorry. Take that back, I guess. What's going on with OKC? Well, everybody's healthy. Everybody that was healthy is now healthy and continues to be healthy, which means Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is healthy, which means that's going to be a problem for New Orleans. The Thunder are not a good basketball team. They're 4 games under 500, but they've been great covering the spread on the road. It's caught out to them a little bit, but then as they lose a game or two, especially on the road as a dog, things start to even out a little bit. Now we're back to being able to attack them as a road dog. But, you know, you have to look at New Orleans. Brandon Ingram with that foot injury. I don't know if he plays. Looking at it right now, I'm going to anticipate that with that foot injury, he's not. And I'm going to lean the spread here with the Thunder. And the biggest reason why is because, all right, if dude plays, there's no stretch or skin off my back. I'm not losing anything here. The Pelicans were already favored. It's not like their line's going to move through zero or anything to that effect. And Brandon Ingram, Eagles on the mind. Brandon Ingram, because Darius Slays requests or has the ability to request a trade. And I love big play. Back to this. Brandon Ingram out isn't moving this for me. I'm still going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road as the dog because that's the smarter play. And that's what we do. We try to make smart plays all the time. Last one here for you. Kings and the Suns. Look, you can say whatever you want, but Phoenix leveraged a lot to get Kevin Durant. And they're not where they were. They won a couple of games with Durant, and then it looked like the dude was just something happened. It just looked like something happened. Not a slip, but something happened. Like maybe he was already hurt. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Well, you just did, counselor. Yeah, well, just strike it from the record. I don't know what's going on, but that shit was shady. That shit was real. It just didn't look good, didn't look right. Why are the Suns, you may ask, laying 3.5 against a team that is better than them, has won more over their last 10 equally, and on top of that is healthy? Doesn't make sense. Phoenix is now in trouble without Kevin Durant for a little bit. And they won these games with Kevin Durant. I know the latest one, last one, whatever, was without technically, but this is where it stops for Phoenix. They go up against a better team right now in Sacramento. Make no mistake. If Phoenix wins this division, they're pulling a rabbit out of their ass. But Sacramento's playing really good basketball. They're better than them. They've won one more over their last 10. There's no injuries. Sorry, I'm taking the Kings. Absolutely, I'm taking the 3.5 Sacramento on the road, and you can book that. It's a lean, but you can book it. All right, appreciate you rolling with us. We're back to look at every game on Sunday slate. Thumbs up, subscribe, make sure you take advantage of this amazing deal on Bet365. We have that link below. My goodness. And I'll see you Sunday.